Hello, Star Seeds, and welcome back to another episode of Ascend into Your Power. Today, I have my friend Shiba Ahadi, the hottie,
Hey.
on. Today, I'm so excited for you guys to get to know a little bit more about her and for myself to know more because I'm finding out things as we're talking before this that I didn't realize happened. So I can't wait to go into it more. So Shiva, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Let's get down to it. Well, thank you so much for having me on here, Chelsea, and I'm so excited to be here. And a little bit about myself. Okay, so there's a lot, but let's get started. So, I am an intuitive coach and healer. I help empaths step into their confidence, activate their true selves, and really own their whole selves and just really tapping into their power and dropping all those old stories that say that they can't do something. And that is a little bit about what I do. And I also do a little bit of music. I also am a songwriter and I
Yes.
also do a little bit of music producing as well.
I love that.
And I am pretty like I'm always doing something.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Always something new. Multifaceted we are.
Very. So many
Yes,
layers.
exactly. Oh, yes. I actually heard one of your songs the other day on Instagram and I was like, whoa, this is so good. It was like just like kind of like, oh my gosh, what did it say? It was like talking about like the like changes and like growing into like the priestess and like wearing the crown, right? I
Mhm.
believe. And I was like, I love this so much. And it was like, how did you come up with these lyrics? Because it's like everything that you like, I guess it comes into part into like intuition too, I guess, right?
Yeah, actually, some of my songs are actually channeled. I actually co-create with Spirit on some of them. Well, I feel like I'm always co-creating with Spirit, but like I'm like channeling most of it, like lyrically. I'm just channeling it, and yeah, it's so much fun when I just use like channeling and then I use like my intuition along with my music. It's pretty cool, but also I feel like whoever needs to hear the message kind of hears the message kind of thing.
Yeah, like it was hitting me from like all different angles. I think.
That's a good thing,
Like,
right?
ooh, this deep. Ooh, I feel this. Ooh, you know? So I like that a lot.
Oh, thank
So,
you.
yeah, I always ask everyone to like tell us like about like your journey into spirituality.
Oh,
I know it's
that's
loaded.
that's probably a
Condense it.
oh my God, making sure we're gonna be here for
Was
hours.
there like, I mean, was there like a huge like moment in your life when you were like, oh shit, like I'm starting to awaken?
Yes, there was actually what really started my spiritual awakening and even my gifts was I was struggling with a illness that I was having, and this illness it had to do with my ears. It's called a colocytoma in the ear. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I can go into explaining a little bit about what it is. And so there's this skin in the ear that has it's like
Mhm.
right before the eardrum. It's completely on the outer ear, but it's the skin that covers the eardrum. And my skin just disappeared. like one day. Like I was like,
Whoa.
I'm out. I'm out, bro.
Bye. Don't need me anymore.
Literally. And so the skin was missing on both of my ears. And also at that time of my life, I was going through literally like hell. My life was just crumbling. And also, imagine Shiba in a dishwasher or in a washer. That's fine too.
Oh no.
Like literally, like my whole life was, it was just so stressful. I was literally doing three jobs and doing all of it, like helping my family as much as I can, and going through illness, which my illness had no cure. Another thing, like that was hell. And my illness really, like, it's been some like dark days with that because
Yeah.
it was very hard to hear the doctors say like there's no like cure for it, like. And normally when they do the surgery, it works, like it works all the time. But in my like case, it just was not. The skin graft was not taking. No matter what they did, it just was not taking. And it was,
Interesting.
yeah. And it was very rare also that the colocytoma, like, it's very rare, but also there basically was no cure. Like, whatever they did, it was like not working. And I was like, oh my God, like, add, like, literally almost dying with the jobs I'm having. And then also, I forgot I mentioned I was taking about 22 units of college too. It was my last semester, my two last semesters of college for my bachelor's degree in business. And I was doing three jobs and I was doing my bachelor's in business, and I was also going through my ears, not like it was not healing. And
So
then I
did
even,
that like make your sound like more like louder, or how did that affect your like ears essentially?
so actually it's not, it has nothing to do with the hearing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the hearing. And it just, it's very funny actually, like it's very, it can be very complicated to understand too, because I get that a lot from people, like whenever I tell them like, oh, like I had surgery in my ears, they automatically ask me like if I have like hearing issues.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like it's actually just the skin, like it's not, it's not inside of the ear, like where like the hearing parts are. It's called the inner ear. It's the
Hmm.
outer ear. It's like very much so out of the ear, but it's in the ear, in like near the ear canal. It's like so
I
like
think I'm getting
obvious.
like
Yeah, like in the ear, but not like deep in the ear, where
okay,
like the sound stuff is happening. I'm like
got it.
really bad at explaining that stuff,
No,
but
I think
like
I got it because I feel like everybody would be like, so how did it affect your healing? So I like,
yeah, no, it, I always get asked that, so no, like thank you. And yeah, so the skin was just not growing, it disappeared. And I also was dealing with another health issue to top it off, but thank God that one was healable. But I also went through a lot with that one, and that one was with my leg. My
yeah.
leg um had something with my knee going on. It was like buckling, like it would just like buckle, like the
Yeah.
ligaments were, yeah, were not strong enough. And so I
Like there
had to have,
wasn't like cartilage in between the kneecap and the bone.
yeah, like the, you could say like that.
Mine
And
does
the,
that too. This one.
yeah, and the ligaments were just very like loose. So they put a rod in my like where the under the knee is, so they put a rod. So I went through that health issue, but the one that really like brought my spiritual awakening was my ears, my ear, because like it just was not, I think it just was not, because it wasn't healing. I was like, oh my God, like how, like I need a solution. Like I can't do this anymore. Like I can't have another surgery and like wonder if it worked or it did not work. It was so much anxiety every time I went to the doctor. Like, did it heal? Did it not heal? Like I wanted to cry and I did cry actually.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of anxiety before my doctor visits, and I would cry every time after. Like the doctor would say, like, no, the surgery didn't work, and we have to go back in. And I had redos multiple times, and at this point, I was like, there has to be something. Like I don't care. Like I'm gonna be fucking delusional, and I'm gonna find a solution. I'm gonna manifest something. I don't know. I'm gonna make it possible. I and that's kind of when I tapped into self-development stuff, and I worked with a empowerment coach who also was into the spirituality stuff, but she was a channel herself, and she
Mhm.
was a 7D activator, to put it to that.
Interesting.
So yeah, I worked with her for about 3 to 6 months, and in 3 months my life changed. Like i I came to her specifically because I just wanted to heal my ears, and I was like researching like on the internet, like how can I heal this. Like at this case I was looking at supplements, I was looking at natural vitamins, I was looking at crystals, and I
Yeah.
ordered like a bunch of
Crystal
crystals. Like
earrings.
literally, no joke, like crystals, please heal me, like heal my ears. I was like, I bought a bunch of crystals, and I would sleep with them under my pillow at night. I was like, I don't know which crystal is gonna heal it. I'm just gonna go for it.
It's just a
So
bunch of rocks in your pillowcase.
yeah, and so you basically can say I became obsessed with healing my ears. Like I was researching like everything, like anything and everything, and that's kind of how I found spirituality. And also the coach that I worked with, she did not just help me to be more spiritual, but she also helped me to heal myself, to realize that the power is within me, that I can truly heal myself, and to take back my power. Back then I had really, really, like, not so good with boundaries. Like I was constantly people pleasing. I was constantly burning myself to the ground to help everyone and to save everyone, and to I was constantly abandoning myself and my needs and what my needs were. And it was it was very eye-opening when I worked with her. It
Mhm.
was almost that it was not just for my ears. It was actually where I found that I had gifts too. She
Yeah.
told me, like, Shiba, like, do you know how powerful you are? You are so powerful. You are a channel. You're like she was telling me my crown chakra is like so powerful, and the channel that I have and how I can help women. And that's also kind of how I became an intuitive coach and healer. I really felt like called to step into my purpose even more, helping
Yeah.
others and helping people to reclaim their voice, their power back. And to, as an empath, it can be so hard because you pick up so much energies, and you sometimes you can't even tell what your own energy is, because empaths are like literal sponges, like energetic sponges, and you can never tell like what is your own emotion. And that's basically how I started my spiritual awakening. That's when I started becoming like gaining self awareness over my habits, my routines, myself, how I am as a person, my patterns, my limiting beliefs. I became so self aware that it really freaking hurt. Like, I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like that self awareness, like when it kicks in, the consciousness, I'm like, oh my God, like I've been living like this. Like, no way.
Yeah. What were
And
what were like some of the things that like you were like working through that you didn't realize? Because like I had a lot of like those realizations where it was like, oh, I do have this going on. Oh,
yeah.
I do have like I mean I was like one of like four Spanish families like at my like school area, and like I didn't realize how much I was like bullied like growing up for the most part. And then it was like even now into like dating and stuff, it was like, oh yeah, maybe you do have codependencies. No wonder you're people pleasing. Oh yeah, you do have abandonment issues. No wonder you're
The
like
self-awareness,
latching on.
right?
Yeah, and I was
It-
like, oh,
like,
like
oh.
let that off. Once I got it off, it felt like amazing. But I've noticed
Mm,
like everybody has like some similarity in that, but also they're different. So like what is some things that you personally realize if you're comfortable?
yes. So some things that I like my eyes open to was my people pleasing. How I kept having this need to like please others and to also not be I was afraid of being myself. Like if I was myself, like I wouldn't be liked for all of me. And of course it comes from, like past trauma and like I've been bullied too, so I completely relate to that. I've been bullied so much that it's been like I'm like, oh, another day. Like, hey.
Like so
Uh
frustrating.
yeah,
And
like I
that
can't.
beats you down too, like because then you're like want to like people please because you feel less than because you're being bullied.
Yeah, it's
Like
just like it's like a whole nother thing, right? And yeah, like I mean, I get I get bullied constantly. Like with my TikTok account, I get bullied on my Instagram, I get bullied in my DMs. Like, oh my God, like uh I have so much that like hate comments. I get so much hate comments and so much bullying, but I'm always here to shine a light
yeah,
and bring that
transmute
to the
it.
world, transmute it. And that is what I'm here for, transmuting and uplifting others. And yeah, like I think also another one for me was my codependency too. My codependency and my abandonment.
Yeah.
Abandonment was a big one for me too. I kept realizing like, oh my God, like why do I keep abandoning myself? Like why do I keep abandoning what I need? Like no one can fulfill my needs except for me, and I can't depend on someone else to do that. And
Mhm.
really stepping into my power, my own personal power, and calling it all back to me, like calling the power back to me and not allowing myself to be treated anything less than that I feel that I like. not being treated like really less than, honestly, like not tolerating things because of all these traumas that I face, like because that doesn't like going through trauma like is like insane, but like when you really
Yeah.
look at it, I'm like, oh, holy shit.
Ugh, God, so
Right?
much. And it's like all three of those go hand in hand, like
They
together. Like
do.
people pleasing is to keep codependent relationships, which is you abandoning yourself, which is
It's just beautiful, isn't it?
which is like if it wasn't for like this initial feeling of abandonment, I would have never formed the codependency and then I wouldn't be abandoning myself now. Ah, what? Like
It's like
what? Yeah, like mind blowing. Like I don't it's crazy that it's kind of like what I was talking with Ophir about last week is kind of like this that everything happened for a reason, and like I feel like the reasons is like us being able to help others now because we can use like our own experience to guide essentially, or like as an example essentially, like if I went through this and this and this and this, then like you can do it too.
yeah, absolutely. I feel like honestly, like that's I used to wonder, like, why me? Why am I going through all this? Like, why? I used to question, like, all the time, like, why? Like, I used to feel like it was so, I used to believe, like, life was happening to me and not for me. But now I look at it as, the opposite way. Life is happening for me and not to me. I just felt like anything that I was doing, it was just like, oh, like in my way. Like everything was just slapping me in the face from left to right. Like another thing. Oh, another thing you have to deal with, Shiba. Like another thing. Like, wow, like that was intense, and I went through a lot, but I'm like glad that I went through it because I'm just happy that I can help people to get out of it now. And although that sounds like, oh my God, like I'm happy I went through all this, but it's truly beautiful, like when you come out of it the other side. And I believe that there's no good or bad. I think that there is that everything happens for a reason, but also it's just like life, like we're here to experience life. I feel like it would be really boring if we just had like unicorns like dropping all the time and like I don't know, I just need some chaos sometimes, like a tad bit of chaos.
A little bit of spice.
Yeah, like you gotta, salt and pepper. Imagine without salt and pepper. Imagine if it was just salt,
Imagine how
life
bland
would
and
it would be so
I have so many memes coming into my head right now. So many. If you don't use salt and pepper or seasoning, start using more seasoning in your life, please.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I like that analogy. Like a little spice, a little salt and pepper. Oh, so wait, okay. So before before we started talking, you were talking about this mushroom ceremony, and I'm so intrigued by it. Like, I don't even want to wait any longer. I want to know.
You're like, let's get to the tea.
Yeah, I want to know, like, was that the first like plant ceremony for you? Or like have you done Aya? Have you tried any other plant medicine before that? Like the tea, spill it.
I'm spilling it right now before it gets cold. Yes. So the mushroom ceremony. I have not tried any other plant medicine. Is Rape plant medicine? No, I don't think so, right?
I
Hape?
think it would be considered a plant medicine. Yes, I consider it plant medicine or like a ceremonial medicine.
Okay, so I have done Hape and I've done mushrooms, and that's it. I have not done ayahuasca or any of the other plant medicine. Uh, I'm kind of a little scared to try Aya, but I don't know. I feel like I'm drawn to it, but I'm like, maybe another day. Maybe today's not the day for that
Yeah,
yet.
you'll know.
Yeah, I'll know when I'm
You will
confident.
know.
Yeah. And so yeah, my mushroom ceremony. So the one I had recently, about 1 to 2 weeks ago, that was my second time doing mushrooms, and the dosage was a little bit way higher than the first time I did it. The first time I did it, it was only half a milligram. Is that what it's called? Half a milligram?
I
Not
think
even
so.
not even a gram, like just half. Like I think that's even a microdose, and I was shooting off the walls, like literally with a half. Like, and that was 3 months ago, and but I'll go into the second one for the second ceremony. So I did 1.75 grams of the mushroom, and that was very intense. I had a lot of my fears come up, and the intention that I set for that ceremony was self-love and to really come back to my heart space even more, and being more open to receive more more love, more happiness, more joy, and just really loving myself even more. So with that ceremony, gosh, like uh when I started, I guess you could say the trip, the journey started, right? uh I started freaking out. Like I started getting really scared, and like I was called, like, telling the facility, like, oh my god, like I am scared, like I can't do this. And I was having a hard time surrendering. Surrendering. I was really trying really hard not to. I don't know what it was, and I didn't have a hard time for my first time surrendering, but this time I just could not surrender, like, for the life of me. And
Like
it
fighting you.
was I was fighting it. I was fighting, like, my thoughts, my everything that was coming up for me. I didn't want to face it. It felt like it was too much to face. And I'm all about surrendering. And for the first time, I was like, I just could not surrender. For the life of me, I could not surrender. And so the ceremony goes on, continues, and the facilitator comes in to do some hape at the same time. So I do the hape, and she, like, really channels in the guidance, and she's like, channel. And I'm looking at her. It's like I forgot to speak English. I forgot to speak. I was literally like jaw dropped. Like I could not get words coming out of my mouth. Like I could not get light language coming out. I was just mute. I was on mute. She was like, channel. And I was like, at this point, still, I was like, still having a hard time to letting go of what was going on.
Yeah.
And who, like, she came in, and like I couldn't let go. I did the hape, which was supposed to, like, bring more up to the surface, like the things to, like, so I could release it. I still was fighting my, like, stuff so badly. So the facilitators moved on to the next people, like the next like they go into groups, like checking on the people. And so I, like, sat and I was like still terrified, seeing shit that I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why did I sign up for this? Why am I here? I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. And so I just, at this point, I'm like really terrified what I'm seeing. I'm like seeing all these things. I'm seeing fairies all around. I'm seeing so much patterns, and then there's this music too. There's this music that's like it's supposed to be activating, right? But for the life of me, it's scaring the shit out of me, to be honest. I'm like, y'all, I'm scared. Can you please just change the song? Like, change the song,
Was
please.
it like tribal, like drumming,
Yeah,
or
it was like a guy like saying something, but it was like just like it was bringing out my fears. I was
gross?
like, it was so, yeah, like it was just so activating. It was very activating because I was like, y'all, I'm scared. Like I can't do this. Change the song, please. Change the song. And they were like, kind of like trying to like not change the song, of course, because the song
Oh my
is there
goodness.
to activate. Yeah, they're like, it's fine, you're safe. And so like after that, like the facilitator really held really beautiful space for me, really beautiful space for me. And I was still scared and still not surrendering. I was like, I can't do this, I can't let go. Oh, little did I know, like, oh my god. So as soon as the facilitator walked away, and she was actually guided to walk away too, for me to face my own stuff on my own.
Yeah.
And that's when, oh my god, my voice literally came out. Like I just channeled, and I at that point I just surrendered. I was like, okay, I'm fine. Like, okay, like spirit guides, my ancestors, like any, like all my, like my whole team. I was just calling them and like, okay, I know this is hard for me, but I'm gonna surrender, even though I'm like shitless scared. And I
Yeah.
finally surrendered, and I was like, I came here for a purpose. Like, I'm not gonna go home and be like, I didn't surrender, and like that's the story to that. Like, I feel like if you're going, you're ready to, let go. Even though it can be hard, it can be hard sometimes to let go of that stuff. But so I finally surrendered, and I felt this love, like unconditional love, just wash over me. And I just channeled, and I also was actually transmuting other people's energy and what they were going through. And it was such a beautiful experience. And I was channeling, and I was singing too. I was singing for hours, for hours. And the like the people who already did, like the people who were doing the ceremony, they were they were done with their ceremony. Like they were kind of in it, but they were already done with it, and they went to go eat something. And I was still there channeling, and I was there singing with one of the other girls that were there, like just um like she was laying down and just going through. And I feel like I was there just channeling, but also transmuting the energies.
Yeah.
It was such a beautiful experience. And also, like, I really connected to my inner child. And I like so many tears washed like washed down, like washed away, washed down. And I was like, oh my god, like I love you, like I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you. And it's like this unconditional love, like loving on my inner child and giving her that love that she needs even more. And it was so
Mm.
beautiful, and be like, I am enough. I am enough. And it was just so beautiful. Like I definitely my intentions definitely were like answered, and the ceremony like showed me how powerful my channeling is, but also that I am also really good with transmuting, and how I can transmute and heal others with my voice too.
Yeah.
And I was just singing all these angelic frequencies. I was like, can I even do like I've been singing like for as long as I can remember, but those like pitches and like I was not even human anymore. Like I was not human anymore. I was
Yeah.
channeling, I was saying a bunch of words, and I was like release, release, transmute, clear, 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 and like just all these things like were coming up for me, and I really gained like, oh my gosh, like who I truly am, like that oneness inside of my soul. It was so
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love that. I felt that when was it? Oh, like in August, like I had like a similar thing, like the end of
Yeah.
August, August 27th or something like that. Particular day, I think. Um, where I was like watching Moana and like I took like some psilocybin like microdosing and like ceremony with myself and was like felt called to watch Moana, and I'm watching Moana and I'm like getting all this like downloads after downloads after downloads, and like I started to feel like how I felt when I was like transforming into like the wolf and when I did ayahuasca, and and it was like such like this like touch like yourself to like feel like, is this real? Like, is my body real? and
Yeah.
um and then like I felt like just like I did it, like I did it, I figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god,
The key
I
of
did
life.
it. Yeah, and I literally went outside like crying and like screaming into the air, I did
I love that. Oh my god.
it.
It's so
So it's
liberating. Like,
so weird when you feel like that. Like you're like, you guys, I did it.
I fucking did
I did
it.
it. Yeah. I won with myself finally. And then boom, another tower moment. But it's like that. It doesn't stop. Like, you
No.
know, and it's like always it gets better as you keep going, because like now you're like, no, I know who I am. No, that's
Yeah.
not gonna happen anymore. Like, you know, like
Mm.
you're setting boundary. I feel like right now, I don't know about you, I'm like in like that boundary, standing up for myself, detaching like part um of like my personal journey. Like I've been like more of the like, let me sit back and see what happens, like the observer.
Mm.
That
Like
makes
your
sense for
mind?
you?
No, like your mind, like of your mind, or like how people are,
Like
like
I've
what people
noticed I've
do.
just been like letting people show me themselves, and I just like sit back and observe. Or like I've noticed that I don't speak as like much as I used to. That makes
Mm.
sense.
No, that makes sense.
Like I feel like when I talk now, it's very much like intentional versus like just like talking to talk.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know if I'm
makes.
saying that correctly, but like
No, I
before,
get
like
you.
if I was like in like a group setting, I would like kind of want to be like the person that was like in attention. I had like this
Yeah.
weird like thing where I was like, like I want people to talk to me, or like why won't people talk to me? Like why, like I would like think that, and now I'm kind of like more like in the group setting, like watching and listening to other people's conversations, and then
Mm.
kind of like Oh yeah, I know about, like button when I feel like that's something important to talk about or bring up. But I've been noticing that a lot lately, and I think that has to do a lot with like ego deaths too. And I know you've had like a couple as well. We were talking
Yeah,
about it. We've been talking all day today.
so much
Um,
juiciness.
yeah, so I know you've had a lot as well too. My I feel like my first ego death was like I had like the void. Have you experienced that through your ego death, or how is like ego death for you?
When you mean the void, like what can you go a little deeper on that? Like what do you mean? Like is that
Um, it was like I was in ayahuasca when I had it. So like I just saw like blackness. Like
okay?
and I was like, what's going on? I need to get out of here. Why can't I get out of here? Why am I still here? What's happening? Oh my God. Like freaking out. And like my ego, is like
Mm-hmm.
racing and like thinking so many things while I'm just in this like darkness. Like, did I die? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then like I finally just like got to a point where I like, well, okay. And then boom, like breakthrough, I guess, in a
Yeah.
sense. So like the void helped me to kill like the ego, or like more better understand the ego, so that when I finally surrendered to what was happening, that died essentially, or like I embraced it in that moment. And I know like ego deaths look differently for everyone. So that's like I want to ask you.
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely had a couple. Honestly, like this year, oh my God, like it has been insane. I feel like I've had ego deaths almost in every month. To be honest, like the person the person that I was in the beginning of this year, oh my God, like I am not that person anymore, and it's scary, like for me I'm like very I'm always evolving, and part of me I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm very like quick to I'm always looking to like into the self-development stuff and improving. But when it comes to ego death, yeah, like ego death for me looks like when I had my first one, it wasn't on like any plant medicine. It was just like really realizing who I'm not anymore, and all these beliefs that were not if that were never mine, like from the first place. Like it's so insane. Like when you I think it's his name is Eckhart Tolle that says like you have to be the observer of your mind or your thoughts. I think he says something like that. And when my ego like started dying, literally I was like, oh my God, like these thoughts, these beliefs are not mine. They are just, they are from someone else. And I'm like, I can't believe I believe these. Like, it's so crazy how powerful our beliefs are, our mindset. Like, if you can really be like claiming your power with your mindset, you can like change your whole life. Like, oh my God, you can really change your whole life and really reclaim yourself, your power back. With the with each eco death, it was very different, and um, it was very I feel like with each ego death that I had, it brought me more self awareness with all the stuff that I had going on in my life. But I actually had a recent ego death with the mushroom ceremony that I did. And what that one looked like for me was like all my thoughts. the awareness of what I had going on, I was like, wow, did I really think this way? Or like these beliefs are mine? I feel like the mushrooms really bring a sense of like things to the surface that were in the back of your mind that you never even knew you had. And
Yeah.
for me, like I was like, oh my God, like I thought all these things and like that. It was so painful being aware of these things, like, and that's where like the integration came in for me and really sitting with that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I had a few couple of rough days where I just couldn't sit in one place and I couldn't ground myself. It was so bad. And but then as soon as I really looked inward even more, my ego died. And for me, I think that just feels like shedding skin, like being someone, coming back to your true essence, I feel like for me.
Yeah. Do you feel like do you feel like you have an ego death every time you quantum shift?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, I'm not joking. Like I have
That
like
came up when
changed
when you were talking.
like I've changed my style in this year about like 5 to 6 times. I
Yeah.
literally tossed my old clothes like 2 weeks ago. This is like, the life. I'm like, I am not that person anymore.
Yeah.
And it really is like, the plant medicine really helps you to come back to your true self, it really helps you to heal parts of you that you didn't even know, like, needed heat, like needed that healing or that inner work to like sit with.
Yeah. When I did the psilocybin microdosing another time, like I'm super sensitive, so I say microdosing. I mean, literally, like I don't need to take a lot, people. Um, so when I did it, like I had this point that I got to, like I noticed I was trying to like kind of distract myself. Like I had taken like 4 chocolates, it said 4 little things. And I noticed like essentially I was like distracting myself. I was like, it doesn't really feel like it's working. Let me take another one. Yeah, take another one, you know? And then when I get up to 4, everybody's like, are you sure this is your first time? And I'm like, I'm t like, this is what like spirit's saying. I gotta take 4. I'm taking 4. Like, like if they tell me to take
You
another one,
gotta
I'm gonna
listen
take
to
another
spirit.
one. And like this is what I have to do. Okay. So like it was in a good space. Like all my friends are healers as well. And it's just different, and I know that you identified with that too. It's like there's like our healer friends, and then there's like us, our healer friends. So a lot of the
Yeah.
times it's like hard because like you can talk to them about things, but they don't truly understand it because it's like a different form of healing that's a little you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah,
I don't know how to
girl, I
explain.
totally get you. I got you.
It's like we're
No.
the weirdest ones of our healer
I'm
friends.
like, what?
Like,
uh,
and it's like hard to
yeah.
talk with them about certain things because even though
Mm,
they are in the realm,
yeah.
they aren't ready for it yet. So it's like you can't
Yeah.
necessarily blurb all the stuff that's coming to you like for help to your friends with because they won't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh
So,
my gosh.
oh, but I got into this point in the where I was like, I need help, like
Yeah.
help me. Like I'm pulling at this spot and it's like nothing's coming out. Help, 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 please. Like come over, help me. And she's like, relax, it's okay. Like holding the space for me. And then it was like, can you just check? Like, I don't know why I keep pulling, but there's such sadness or something here. And like, she
Mm.
like went over it and was like, there's nothing there. You're perfect. And I literally was like, what? Like, what do you mean I'm perfect? Like, and this was like when I just like started bawling, crying, like
Mm.
profusely, like pineal glands like draining. My nose was like running, like my eyes were like coming, like I was like coughing phlegm up, like
Yeah.
it was like this intense like opening of like not only was it I'm perfect, like I've been like on this mission of self-healing and healing myself to the point where I did heal myself, but that wasn't enough for me to where I continued to keep thinking something was wrong with me
Yeah.
because I was like, well, if I was healed and I was okay, then why did they leave me? Like I was still in that area, like, but something's wrong with me because they don't want me.
Yeah.
That was like my belief like system that I had, and now like I've healed a lot around that from that moment, because it was like that's when I realized, click, like you said, these are not my thoughts, and my head went so quiet for the first time in my entire life. Like my I've
Yeah.
never had my thoughts so quiet. That's when I
Mm.
realized that like my homies that I've been channeling like are actually me. That's what I realized. Like all these things like like
Mm.
my mind just like blown.
Oh, I
And
resonate. Mm.
yeah, and it's just like I realized, that if people leave my life, that's okay. They're not supposed to be in my life. Like, I don't have to lessen myself. I don't have to change myself. I don't have to be somebody I'm not. I don't have to wear a mask or other identities or
Mm.
anything like that. All from that. And then, like, even double down harder when I had that heart opening, like with Moana. And I was like, I know who I am. This is who I am. Like.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, yeah.
I resonate with that so much. Like the healing, when I became obsessed with healing my ears, like I healed myself, I manifested a cure, and then thank God now I'm healed. I don't have that issue anymore, which is such a blessing. Like we truly are our own healers, and now I don't have that issue anymore. I'm so thankful. Like that really took the life out of me, honestly. Like having a health issue that just does not want to go away is like another thing, and having no cure, oh my god, that's very scary to have no cure, and you're having all these redos done and nothing's working. And after I was done, like finally healed my ears, I did notice like that part that you're saying, like I became obsessed with healing myself even more. Like, oh my gosh, like I have so much work to do. I gotta heal, I gotta heal everything. Let's
Yeah.
get down to business. Like, let's heal everything. And I was like, Sheba, like, you can't possibly heal everything in this. Like, take it easy, okay? Take a chill pill. And I like sometimes like you gotta like I think being on the healing journey is beautiful, but it's also a reminder to not get lost in it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, to not get lost in it is so important. To do things that you love and to not beat yourself up for things that you're now realizing that you've been doing.
Yeah. And I think that even goes into like your spiritual practice as well, like work too, because like I got to like this point with work where I was like, I have so much to do. Like, I have so many things that I'm being told I need to do, and I have to do them all. But then,
Yeah.
like, then you're like, I got super critical about like, you need to be doing more. Why can't you do more? And it's like, I can't do more because you're telling me to rest. But what am I gonna,
Which one is it?
which one
Which
is it?
one? What do I do?
Like they're telling me to rest, but at the same rest because big things are coming. Like this is what I hear. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm resting, cool. All right, boom, download, 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 download of things that I have to do all in the same time period of when I'm supposed to be resting. And I'm
Yeah.
like, guys, and it gets like a lot. And then like I feel like for myself, I was really battling with like I'm not doing enough. Um, versus before I was like, I'm not good enough. Now I know I'm good enough. And now it's like, you're not doing enough. And so, like, I've been working through that. And I'm like, no, just being myself and existing right now is doing enough. Like,
I
every
love that.
person I walk around is like getting activated just from being around me. Even the earth, every time I'm on the earth in the areas, is getting activated just from me being there. And like, I'm creating that light already without having to do anything. Like, all these other things are just side pieces for my journey.
Oh my gosh. No, you are such an activator. Like, oh my gosh, our light language calls when you go into your whole channeling and your light language, oh my gosh, powerful. And I love the is it called the mantis, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah, so oh my god, I love that so much.
I like feel like nobody can ever hear the mantis really. Like well, not true. Like the people that are meant to hear the mantis codes, like when
Mm,
I am doing it, they hear them very loudly. But if
yeah.
you're not supposed to hear it or like it's not for you, then it just doesn't sound like it sounds like underlying like typing
Yeah.
or something weird. But like the last one I channeled Mantis for like the longest time I've ever channeled Mantis. Like I look like I'm doing nothing. I'm not saying anything, right?
Yeah.
But the whole time I'm
No, I was like,
like
here,
my
and I was
tongue's
like,
like
oh
moving,
my
like
god. Yeah. I was like, dude, like, that's cool. Like, I love that. I've never heard like that kind of light language. So I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool. Like interesting.
I forgot who I was talking to about that the other day. I think maybe Giovanna. But yeah, with the mantis, I never heard anybody else speak mantis light language before. And I actually didn't know what language I was speaking for the longest time. I thought like
Mm.
I was being communicated with through Morse code. Like I
Oh.
thought what I was saying was Morse code. Um, so I started to get obsessed about that and wanting to learn more. And then I think I finally found something that was like mantis like activation and I heard it and I was like, that's there it
That's
is.
it.
I'm like
That's
not crazy.
it.
But that was like the first one that came out and that was the only one I had for a while.
Mm.
Um and then I don't know what switched, but I started channeling.
Mm.
I channel a lot of different things, and I don't
Yeah.
necessarily always know where it's coming from. Like, I'll channel something and be like, it kind of sounds like Syrian, it kind of
Mm.
sounds Arcturian,
Yeah.
but it's not, and
You're
it's
like,
like, What is it?
Oh my god. So I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
You're like, what is it? So when you're channeling light language, do you know like what you're saying, or like what's your,
Sometimes.
yeah. Yeah?
Sometimes. So like if I know what I'm saying, I'll say it either before or right after I channel it.
Okay. My laptop's dying. Can you give me one moment?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Don't worry.
I know.
Yeah. Charger. I'll just keep talking about
Yeah, you do you, girl.
so when I do channel, um yeah, I get the information kind of either through the back of my head, like I see the codes coming in through the back of my head, or it's just like a feeling and it rises from like the Akashic, or it's like coming down through like the crown. So there's like multiple different ways that I actually channel. And I know a lot of people have it differently for like it's different for each person, essentially. But for me, I get it in various different ways. So like um I've channeled a bunch of different frequencies and codes and they'll like give me the words for it or like the feelings that I feel behind it. For instance, in like my light language activations that I post like kind of weekly whenever spirit wants me to. I was going to do it every Friday, but they've been kind of like, no, wait, do it on this day. No, wait, do it on this day. Um, so like the
I'm
light
back.
language. So like the light language essentially I yeah, it comes all different ways, like through the back of my head, through the top of my
Mm,
head, or rises from the Akashic. So it's like something I remember from a past frequency. And
mhm,
then like I'll get like the words after. So I could be like, you know, this is going to help with the solar plexus, your confidence, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll go. Or like that I'll start it and towards like the middle, like it'll give me like a word and I'll say the word, or like then I'll keep going in light language and then I'll say whatever they want me to say after. Sometimes it's been very fluid back and forth. Like I've noticed in like healing
mm,
circles, it'll be like, and then it'll be like, you are like the light, you are the light, or something. It'll flow like that. And then
mhm.
I'll continue on through the light language, like it's like never doubt yourself. You are powerful, like stuff like that, like essentially. So it'll
Yeah.
give like um, a little bit, whatever like the person needs
Mm,
to hear, essentially. Like that's how I feel. Like a lot of times if I'm
yeah.
working with like higher selves or if I'm working with a particular guide for someone and
Mhm,
they need to hear it in the conscious mind, that's when I feel the English comes out because the conscious mind needs to comprehend what the subconscious is elevating in that moment,
mm,
essentially. Um, or like a reminder, reassurance of like, yes, this was feelings are happening, it's okay. Um, so I don't know how it is for you, but that's how it is for me.
No, that is
Because
wow,
you're a
like that's
powerful channeler too. Like just like your like light codes with your hands. Um, you're very multifaceted, like in light language like me. So I'm but
yeah.
do you channel Because I notice like when I channel, my voice changes a
Mm.
lot. Like, well, at least I feel like my voice changes. Like I'll go down an octave, up octave, or it'll be like squeaky, squeaky, or I feel like I literally turn into what I'm channeling. So I don't know if that resonates for you. Um, but I've noticed that a lot, especially after watching the light language replays that we record in our sanctuary, because that's where I met you, the sanctuary. I forgot to say that earlier. I got too excited. Um, but yeah, that's something I've noticed personally. So
Yeah, for me for me actually I feel like when I'm channeling for myself though, I haven't felt that when I channel like on the calls yet. For the calls I get like kind of like what you're talking about, like I get a little bit of that and like I get like a little bit of English. But for when I'm channeling for myself, I actually hear in my head like what like almost like I'm getting the translation of what I'm saying.
yeah,
Does that happen to you? Like I'm
yeah,
like, oh my
sometimes.
God, yeah. Like it's so cool. Like I'm like, I don't know this language, but my soul knows.
Exactly. And then I'll realize a lot of the times, like a lot of the things that I post that I get channeled and like channeled messages for are
Yeah.
like I'll go like a week by and then I'll be like, oh, that was for me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah,
And then I'm like,
yeah.
oh, duh. I should watch this.
Oh,
Because
that's so
sometimes I'll
funny.
just post it and not really like watch it. I'll just be like, okay, I did it. Good luck. And then like now I've been realizing, oh, you're a lot of these ones that you're channeling are actually things that you also need healing with as well. So maybe you should watch it a couple times. So that's what
Yeah.
I've been doing lately. And I feel like it's been helping a lot, especially with like um I've been feeling a lot of like body dysmorphia lately.
Yeah.
Um, because I think with like shape shifting so much, like that's one of my gifts is shape shifting. Um, blowing people's minds right now. But I literally turn into or shift into what I'm channeling. And like I've gotten downloads before from like my higher self, who's like my true name is Neo Wataway. So like
Mm.
she was like basically telling me, like I use like the wolf as an analogy to um show you what it feels like to be in like this body. So it was like very much showing me like how like loving on the body, like because when I did transform into like the wolf, it was like very like sensual, like sexual like experience in a way. And that's kind of how it kind of feels to be in like physicality. Because you think about like food and things like that, people are like, oh, it's better than like an orgasm. Oh, it's better than sex, like
Mm.
this food. But like when you think about it, really, if you think about it from like that 12th dimensional like mindset, that 12th dimensional frequency, like just touching things, like just like being able
The
to like
senses.
feel and like smell and see and like hear is like so sensual in a way, like so
Oh yeah.
beautiful and like so expansive. That's the word I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's yeah. Oh my God, like when you tap into the senses, like I feel like we are so busy with like living a life that sometimes we forget to just like feel the senses, like even like like I was literally like saying this to myself, like, oh my gosh, like I've been really like overworking myself. Like I'm like eating so fast that I can't even like it just goes down. Like, I'm like, you gotta chew your food and like savor it. Like, what does it taste like? Like, really get down to the taste. Like, get
It's so
sensual
funny.
with it.
Yo, that's something my great grandma used to say to me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would be like, um, she's always around me. So that's funny that you guys, but she's always like, you never know when like a meal could be your last one. So you should take your time and like savor it and like eat it and enjoy it. And like, why are you scarfing it down? You know,
Yeah.
like really feeling like the process it is to like eat, you know,
Yeah.
like when you think about like, this happened on mushrooms too. Okay. So when you think I was cooking like food and like, so I went to the grocery store, I picked out the food, I came home, did the mushrooms.
Yeah.
I'm making and preparing the food. And then like I start to get like really in the process of making the food and like smelling everything and like touching like the food with your hands and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then like you go to eat the food and you're like, wow, this tomato's so good. Just think
So
about the
good.
person who harvested the tomato and the love that that person had for these tomatoes. And then the mother that birthed this person who picked the tomatoes and the love that went behind the person, you know? And then so
Yeah.
like you can really like expand on like the whole experience, like even to like maybe I'm the one that cooked the food, but think about all the love that I put into the food. Or like a chef that really loves what he does, you can tell the difference eating their food versus fast food or like somebody that hates their life
Oh,
that's cooking.
yeah.
There's
Yeah, like
same with the bartender,
that
you
was
know,
that
there's
was
a
the
vibe
sense.
there. Like,
Yeah, definitely. Like, oh my gosh. Uh, tapping into the senses, like it's really good though when you tap into your sense because it's like it's also another way to coming back to the present moment. I feel like we just oh my god, like we get so caught up sometimes in life, like oh my gosh, eat the food, eat, like we don't even go down like
go, go, go.
oh my gosh, who harvested these tomatoes, like getting deep with it, like
Yeah,
uh it's
super deep.
important. Yeah.
It is because you're like, wow, there's so much that goes into this than just is what's in front of me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because I'm like a Scorpio moon or like just overall generally interested in anything cultural. But like I'm like always want to know more. Like I can never
Mm,
like know enough about someone or like about where things come from. Like I love learning about like the journey behind things, like the culture behind you or who you are, whatever, you know? So
yeah.
interesting to me.
It is interesting. Like there are so many cultures out there. Oh my gosh, like I think yesterday was Diwali, I think is how you say it. And it's just like, yeah, like it's so interesting. I love culture and like learning more about it. It's just so cool to see like how different people are and how people were brought up in certain cultures. And like the food, of course, like food. I love food.
Yeah. And even with like the cultures, it's kind of like we all are from like different backgrounds and things like that. Even like in our own personal container that we have,
Mm.
it's like even though we're all from like these different backgrounds, we're all like the same
Yeah, like it's so
in a
true. It's
weird
like
way.
that. I don't know. I feel like it's like that oneness kind of thing in a sense.
Yeah, because we
Yeah,
are one. Duh.
we are one.
Duh, Sheila. I am you. You are me.
You are me.
You are me and I am you. Um, yeah, that's like duh, of course, makes sense. How
Also,
can I forget?
are you like is my like shoulder like gone? I just
Oh
noticed
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
All
a little.
right.
It's okay.
I'm missing a shoulder, guys. It's Halloween.
Yeah, on the YouTube, you will be able to not see her shoulder.
If you want to see my shoulder, catch me on my IG.
Yeah. Until then, so sorry about your luck. Oh God. Okay, I think that was everything that we wanted to cover. Mm. Okay. So wait, I think the only thing that we didn't really cover, I mean, we did a little bit, was like self-awareness. Like, do you want to expand more on that?
Absolutely. Self-awareness. Okay.
I feel
Like,
like that kind of is a good segue into it. Like, the
yeah, I no, I agree. Well, it can get so big. So, like, when you mean self-awareness, like, do you have a specific question or
um I feel like we talked about like how you felt like you started to become aware of like your own self, but maybe we did talk about this already because like all the questions I'm thinking about, I'm like, oh, you already answered that. Oh, you already said that. Sorry.
it's all good.
I feel like there's like been like I've been like channeling like as this has been happening. So I every time I'm around you, I like my hands are like super like
Activated?
ready to roll.
Oh my God.
Um
I love that. I'm just activating. Woo!
yeah, like you had me like I wrote 3 pages of codes like once you
Yeah.
started
Oh my
talking. So
gosh.
it's I guess maybe we should talk about that. Like, okay,
Yeah.
this activations that you do, when did you notice like you were like activating?
Like light language or like just in general?
In general, I guess, like with light language and just like being you. Like, I feel like you didn't
Being you.
really do anything for me to like be activated like today and like drawing all of these things.
Yeah. I am definitely uh I feel like I've honestly it's been happening since I was like as long as I can remember. I feel like I didn't know like one of my gifts that I've have actually like I came to this realization actually with the mushroom ceremony that I'm a energy transmuter as well, but that I've been doing this my whole life. I did not know that I was transmuting people's energy like without knowing. And gosh, like when I look back on my experience with high school, middle school, like there's so much that happens, in those age groups. Uh I remember going through so much and I could not for the life of me get a hold of my own energy because I was constantly picking up so much energy and transmuting other people's energy that it was like my own energy was gone. I was depressed for days. Anxiety was to the roof. Like literally every time I stepped into high school, I felt anxiety. And I was like, why do I feel anxiety? Like, why do I feel this every day? It cannot be like I feel like this every single day. It was so bad. Like, it was so bad. But yeah, like, I've been transmuting energy ever since. And activating, I feel like just happens automatically. It's kind of like something that came to me and I've just been doing it. I'm automatically transmuting with like used to I did not know I was transmuting it, but now that I know that I'm like transmuting, activating, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can really help so many people, but also like really just being more intentional with it too. Like when I'm doing it and like doing it for when people need it too, like being so much more intentional. I had no idea. Like that's kind of like what happened with the mushroom ceremony. I was transmuting so much, and a few of the people were like, when you were doing like this with your hands, they're like, it felt so soothing. I was like, oh my gosh, like it's been so like that's so amazing for me. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do that. Like I was so happy after the mushroom ceremony when I realized that I've been doing this like already. Like it's already I've been doing it, but it was like a matter of coming back to true my true essence, I guess you could say. And yeah, activating is I feel like you said I kind of automatically just do. It's like I just know it's like my soul just knows what to do. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing, but my soul just knows.
Guiding you in the right direction, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, and that basically like with your like coaching and things like that, because I know like everybody does their things differently. So um do you do like light language healings and things like that too? Or like how like what all is like kind of like that you do to other people?
Yes, I will. Give me one moment. Let me put my light on. It's getting dark in here.
Okay,
I'm
hold
like,
on, I'll
I'm
pause
like,
it. New recording.
oh, okay. Now you can see my shoulder. You guys were
Yes.
missing out. Okay. Now you won't miss out.
Yes. Siri
Okay.
popped up and she was like, yes.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Yeah. I
When
don't
there's
know
just
how
too
she
much
heard any.
energy. I don't know. It's the energy,
I'm like, I'm not talking, and Siri's lighting up.
Uh,
She can't hear because I have my headphones on.
oh my gosh, like
Weird.
yeah. So like you were saying with my coaching, like what do I kind of like do? I actually have many abilities. I like very multi-dimensional healer, I would like to say. And what I do is basically I work on what they need. A lot of like everyone's needs are very different, and what they need are specifically tailored to what their needs are. So I use Reiki, I use light language, and I use my channeling ability, and also I use my psychic abilities to be able to see like the person like what they are not seeing themselves right now. Like how can they shift their energy and their mindset to a place where they can drop those old stories and to really call in their power and really standing in their true authentic self. So that's kind of a little bit about what I do and really working on bringing their energy up and healing what needs to be healed, whatever comes to the surface. And I only heal what needs to be healed. I don't heal like things that if someone's not ready to heal things, like
Yeah.
it's not going to come up for them. I only heal things that they are ready to heal.
Same views. I was
Yes.
wondering like your style like of things. And that's like because I felt like I was so rare.
I love that.
You know, like, well, we are very rare, like
We are, yeah.
very rare. Like, I'm like the type of healing work we do is like very rare. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And so it's like been interesting, like navigating like what our healing is and how to explain that to people and like how to like
Yeah.
make them. And I'm like, it's more than just Reiki because like I never want to like just say, oh, it's Reiki, because you'll go to us for a healing, right? And then you'll go to like Reiki and you'll be like, what the fuck?
Oh
Like
my God.
not
Absolutely.
that it's like saying that it's anything less because it's
Yeah.
very powerful in its own, but like I feel like what we do can sometimes be like a very shamanic experience too,
Mm,
but it's like that's not even the right word in a way.
yeah. I
So it's
relate.
like quantum healing, yeah, we're going multi dimensions. But like so it's like all of this like in one, and it's kind of like voila! Like people like I try to like tell my like people who I am working with, like this is kind of what it is. Just like relax, like the codes are just going to go to the DNA. It's going to help with the subconscious. We're going to go on like this guided journey. Like we kind of like blend all of these things together and you're safe. That's all you need. You're safe.
Yeah. Like in the beginning of my coaching journey, I was like, how do I explain to someone like how I help, like how, like you said, it's so hard to explain sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you explain it? And then I was like, you just really like put those things together and be like, like what you're saying, you're safe. It's just healing your subconscious.
Yeah. There's like it's all of these in
Yeah,
one
it's all
in
in
one.
one, all in what do you call what is it? Big things come in small
Small
packages?
packages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Small packages? Did we say that? That's so wrong. I
Does
think
that
we
make
did.
sense?
I don't know if it
I
makes
don't know.
sense, but we'll roll with it.
What was it?
We're going with it. It's on the podcast now, so we're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Not editing anything. But no, it's very interesting, to say the least. Like even showing up in that capacity is hard at times too. And like when it does come to coaching as well, I feel well, like even when I train like people in Reiki, because I'm a Reiki
Mhm.
master. So when I do certifications, a lot of times people are like, I want to do what you do. And I'm like, well, this is step one. This is the first part of the journey is learning to heal yourself. The first part of the
Yeah,
journey is learning like who you are. Like,
for
yeah, you may
sure.
want to get to like where I am, but you also have to do the work that I had to do, There's a lot of
Yeah.
work.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's I don't know, like still to this day, like I can activate people in light language, same with you. Like you can activate like people's chakras, open them up so that they can speak light language. But if like say like they did in that session, but like 2 days later they miss out of alignment or they lose that frequency because they still have those like poor habits or things like
Mm-hmm.
that keep them in lower vibrations that they haven't been able to break. And so then they like lose the light language essentially because it's like there's a certain like vibrational frequency, I think. I don't know if you resonate with that at all. This is just like coming in.
Yeah.
So
Are
just
we
like keep
channeling
going.
things too?
Yeah, I
I
think I
think
am.
we, I think
I think
so.
we're channeling stuff right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that resonates.
Yeah, no, I definitely resonate with that. And yeah, I feel like you have to have a soul practice though, like naturally, like even like you gotta have a daily soul practice, like just for yourself even, like to really have that peace of mind, but also being able to feel grounded. It's like I feel that a lot of people do struggle with being grounded and really tuning into what source has for them and hearing their thoughts, like hearing their thoughts and not getting distracted in the craziness of life.
That's a good place right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, is there anything else that we need to talk about? No. I would have to ask
All
Spirit
right.
because
Let's
they have their
interview.
own plans.
Oh my god, they do? Let's ask Spirit.
Yeah, that's why I was like, Spirit, is there anything else we need to talk about? No? Okay. Then that's the podcast.
All right, now let's interview Chelsea. You're like,
We'll be
no,
here
I
all
did
day.
not sign up for this.
We'll be here all day. It's another episode. But tell everyone where they can find you and get your like information, like coaching, like all your stuff, like Instagram, like your website if you have one, all the things. Your music.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you can find me at Instagram. It's Shiba Ahadi. So SHIBA AHADI. That is
Ahadi.
my handle. Yeah, Shiba Ahadi. That is my handle. I have a TikTok account, and you can also find me on Facebook too. And I do have a beautiful Facebook group called Bold, Wild, and Free Women. And you can check that out. The link is in the bio in my Instagram handle. And you can check that out and join my group. And if you want to know more info about my coaching, you want to live that life where you are freaking confident, coming back to your power, reclaiming yourself, your truth, DM me on Instagram. Let's get to it. Let's get to the fire. And that's how you can get to my coaching. And I would love to help you out there. And what else? My music is also on my Instagram and my TikTok. I'm working on a Spotify currently, and you can catch that on my Instagram when I get it.
It's like Instagram.
So just go
Perfect.
to Instagram.
I'll put like your Instagram and the link tree and everything below and like the comments. So
Yeah,
everybody will find you. If you didn't hear what she said or missed something, don't worry, it's below. And yeah, I would also love for you to do like a light language activation for here whenever. Maybe we can do it after this.
Maybe. Okay, yeah. Yes.
Since it's the solar eclipse, it'll be powerful.
Yes. Absolutely.
That way, there's a little spice, a little flavor in the activation.
A little, what do you call it? Little pepper, little chaos.
I love this so much. I love you.
I love you.
And yes, so I will see you guys. I will connect with you guys next week on the next episode, and tune in for our light language activation with Shiba on Friday, because I'm recording it today. We're gonna post it on Friday. Yeah, so I hope you guys have a great night. Sending you love and rainbows. Bye.
Bye.